The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Good morning, everyone. Well, we'll have to see what's going to happen with the markets today. A couple of big things happened overnight, of course. We had the Italian elections, if you want to call them that. I think they got, what, 5 different parties, whatever that happens to be. Their market is down just a little bit, which was a surprise. The second thing is it looks like Chancellor Merkel in Germany has won a 4th term. That's at least that's what Bloomberg is telling us. You know, both of those markets are reacting differently than they were expected to react. I mean, if Merkel was going to be in again, you know, she's such pro-euro that you would think that the euro would be really strong, but that has not happened. We've had a pretty good rally in the euro, but it's really near where it should have had some really strong resistance up at that 124 level. The other thing that's really important is the fact that we've had a situation in the grain markets. You know, we've been watching this South African, hello, Earth to Larry, South American weather pattern down in Argentina, and the weather is getting worse, and yet the beans are hardly up today. They're up a couple cents right now. They were basically unchanged, and so that's not reacting well to really good moves. Wheat and corn are down a little bit, so keep an eye on that if you're long, because this is a time where we've had some major patterns complete, and we were right over that full moon area, so we want to watch it very, very closely. At the break here, at the half-hour break, we're going to have Adrienne Togaray from Trading on Target on for a little bit. I wanted to talk to her about defensive trading. I got an email from someone over in Ireland over the weekend to talk about risk and stuff, and I thought she would be a really good one, you know, to ask about that. Plus, she's having a free webinar coming up, I believe, I think it's this week sometime on the 7th, and we'll be talking to her about that a little bit. It's a free webinar, double your money back, can't miss. Let's take a look at the DAX. I want to show you the difference between 2 particular patterns here, folks, that means a lot to me from a technical and a pattern recognition standpoint. As you see this first pattern that we see here in the DAX, we had the 1.618 expansion, you know, down at that level, which we know is a very important number in the Fibonacci sequence. But if we take a look at what really happened with the other market that we watch early in the morning, and that's the FTSE, you'll notice the difference in the pattern between the FTSE and the DAX. You can see the FTSE is basically has several really big patterns coming in at the bottom, whereas the DAX only had 1. We have 2, and the more numbers that you have, the better off the better off the pattern usually is. Take a look at on the first left-hand side, where you first see the first 3 drive pattern there. You know, back on the second. Remember, this is a 30-minute chart, and then again you see another ABCD 3 drive pattern again happening back on the, excuse me, that was the 16th and then the 26th, and that's what we're looking for. And then right after that, you see the 1, 3, 5, you know, patterns where you have the lower tops, and that's what we're looking at. So we should have a pretty good bounce here in the FTSE. I know it's up, at least it was a few minutes ago. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. So we'll watch it to be really closely. I wanted to talk about a trade that we had here. We didn't have it, but our good friend Mr. Z did. I want to bring this up to show you, folks, when this was back on January the 5th. Mr. Z from Philadelphia came into the Tiger Room and was talking about buying the cocoa at 18.45 with a stop at 18.10. That's a $350 stop. I want you to see what's happened to cocoa since that time. Folks, we've gone 5 handles higher. That's 5 large, $5,000 with a $350 risk, and it only took 60 days. I mean, that's better than you can get in the bank at 1.25%, if that's what they're giving these days. So our hats off to that. But the key to this discussion is the fact that he didn't know whether it was going to work or not. Nobody else did either. But he was willing to take the risk, and that's the whole key to trading. You've got to accept the risk, and the part of accepting the risk is you have to accept the responsibility. In the Chinese language and literature, the words risk and opportunity are written exactly the same. Like if you were writing in English, you would write risk and risk, but in Chinese, it's risk or opportunity. It's depend how the word is used in the sentence. So when you have risk, you have opportunity, but you also have responsibility, and you're the one that has to decide how much you're going to risk. Not your broker, not anybody at TFNN, not anybody out in the old cowboy country in Arizona or wherever your people that you listen to talk. You got to decide whether you can do that. You can use the information that we're looking at, but you certainly don't want to be able to see, why, well, we're seeing that. We have a question here about the weekly copper chart. And let me see about that. The weekly chopper, the copper is very interesting. Let's just bring this up here really quickly, because this is one of the things that I follow each week. I don't trade copper that often, but we'll get this up here. You'll notice that we are at a really critical level here in copper. Now, this is the daily chart. You'll notice here we have a potential head and shoulders pattern here. The problem with the head and shoulders, you'll notice that the left shoulder, which happens in October, is exactly the same price, $3.27 a pound, as we had just 2 weeks ago when we were at the 78% level at $3.27 a pound. Now, if that were perfectly symmetrical, in other words, the time from the October to December was equal to December, to March, but this thing topped in mid-February, so that's not a perfect symmetrical head and shoulders pattern, even though it is a head and shoulders pattern. There's a big difference. Now, the fact that it came down and stopped right at the 61% retracement at $3.10 a pound on Thursday is a good sign, because we had a lot of cycles due at that time. But anything below 310, 309, 308 tells us that we're most probably getting ready to make an ABCD structure on the copper from 1335, down to 1305. Then we rallied up to 1327, so 30 points down, 25 points up. You'd be looking at 1327 less 30. You'd be looking at 1297 at 1297, 297 a pound in copper. That's about 15 handles from where it is right now. So that's what we're watching. Again, you have to decide, what are you going to be looking at as far as how much risk you're going to take, and can you take that risk? See, because you don't know what's going to happen on the right side of this chart. Nobody else does either, folks. That's what trading is all about. If we knew it was on the right, if everybody knew it was on the right side of the chart, what's coming, the world would be candy and nuts, and that's what it's not. 877-927-6648.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live, and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a look at the euro here. You know, Friday we hit that spot on 61% retracement at 121.70. And it's had a very good rally. We rallied about 140 pips, but it looks like that we could get all the way up to the 124 level. So far, we've been up to 123.80 as of last night. But if you'll notice, at that 124 level, we're going to have a 61% retracement from the high, which on this 4-hour chart would make it a beautiful head and shoulders pattern. There's one that would show really nice symmetry, plus the right shoulder would be lower than the left shoulder, indicating even more bearishness. So we want to watch that level of 124 very, very closely in the euro. There's another swing there. You have a 1.27 expansion when the market went from 123.50, down to 121.75, dropped 175 pips. And that's actually 2 harmonics, and then it rallies up 3 harmonics up to that 124 level. So watch the 124 level in the euro very, very closely, and especially watch 121.75. If we take that out, this is not a good sign. There'll be trouble in River City, as we remember from the West Side Story from Gary, Indiana. All right, let's move on to one other thing that I wanted to talk about. And that is the Bitcoin, folks. Bitcoin, I've had 3 or 4 different people talking to me about Bitcoin, wondering whether it was, bullish or bearish or anything like that. Folks, this does not look like a bubble. It really isn't. If you just look at the high we made, back around 20,000 in January when they brought out, the CME contracts, we made that big ABCD pattern. That went just a tad below 6,000. I think it was 5990 or something like that. Then we've had these 2 smaller corrections. We are now nearly taking out the highs from the 19th of February. We're at 11,500 and change this morning. So this is not acting like a market that is in a bubble. Bubbles go straight up, and when the air's let out of them, they come straight down. And this is not acting that way. I know it's hard to believe that it's gone from 6 cents back in 2010, to 20,000, but I'm sorry, but this might be something, this blockchain might be something really real. I don't know. Hey, listen, when you get China and Hong Kong, I'm over there to speak, and they asked me to speak a little bit about cryptocurrencies, and it's really good because what I know about cryptocurrencies, you can write on the head of a postage stamp in boldface type. But they bailed me out because I can't mention Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Now I can talk about blockchain, and there again, I have less knowledge about that. But anyway, I'll give a little bit of talk on the charts. That's, I do know the charts. I don't know anything about the technology. I do know the charts, but I cannot mention those words. In 1996, when I was giving my first speeches in Beijing, whenever they have a CNN, it was not CNN, it's what's it called? The BBC channel is always on over there. And believe it or not, I mean, the number of people trading commodities in in China at that time, I mean, still not very much, but at that time was virtually none. That's why I was over there speaking. But on that channel, it was Bloomberg. It wasn't BBC. It was Bloomberg. And on the channel of Bloomberg, they would have the words coming through of what's happening in China and the weather and everything. But they also had the price of crude oil, the price of gold, and the price of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All of those were on the machine. But anytime anybody outside of China mentioned keywords like Tiananmen, which is Tiananmen Square, communist. There was about 5 key words. I don't remember all of them, but those are also Mao was one of them too. And but anyway, anytime those words were mentioned, beep, you're blacked out for about 90 seconds. And it only happened a few times, but they control that stuff. So be aware that. It ain't as the gang of 4, that's for sure. Now we got the gang of 100. Anyway, let's move on to some of these other things that we want to talk about. Boys and girls, we have I should say, ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation in the grain market that Rich Anderson brought to our attention last Friday. This is the first time in a long time. We've had 6 years of pretty much bumper crops here in the United States, Rich was saying, but this is the first time where we have gone above the February highs in March, and we did that on a Thursday. And that means that if you go back and look at history, whenever you take out the highs of February and March, the odds of your market being up higher into the crop growing season is better than 95%. In other words, all the years that's happened, there were 17 years over a period of statistical samples where that occurred, and 16 of those 17 years saw bull markets coming in grain. So we've got that on our radar. The people here at TFNN, if you come into the Tiger Room, you've got a couple of people in here that really understand this, especially Mr. Z. From Philadelphia. John really knows the technical part, plus he knows a great deal about the fundamentals and also the weather. And so those are the things that make these markets move. So what we're watching now is this is that world famous word that you never want to use in trading, and that is hopefully. We're going to see a nice pullback here, and if it comes in ABCD format in these grains, we want to be looking to at something very nicely. Remember, Mr. Z had his hands on the cocoa, and that was a huge move with a very, very small amount of money to risk. And it's hard to stay with it all the time for 2 months. But if you have a plan that says, look, I'm not going to get out of this until it starts making newer, lower lows, folks. Cocoa never made lower lows. All it did was make higher highs and higher lows, and that's the definition of a trend. And that's what we should be watching. So let's keep an eye on these grains. That's one of the things we're going to be doing for Fibonacci 24/7. I also covered in the newsletter too. But I think it's got a real chance here in these grains. If this statistic is kicked in, we want to watch it with a great deal of interest. Anyway, I wanted to bring up one other package here. This is a charting package from MetaTrader 4. These folks were the 2 Russians that built this thing, were my students many, many years ago, over 20 years ago. They came to visit me here in Tucson. But you'll notice it draws in the patterns and the ratios. And what we're looking here now, you'll notice that ABC pattern, we got up to 2380 last night, and that could be that head and shoulders pattern, that we're looking at in the euro. We need to break this new low out tonight below 122.70, and then that could possibly say that the head and shoulders pattern is certainly valid, and then would be able to look at it. We're coming up to a break now. Stay tuned for Adrienne Tilgaray from Trading on Target. She's going to give us some good sage words of advice and tell us about the upcoming webinar that she has, which is double your money back, folks. You cannot lose. This is a no-brainer. So let's stay tuned. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we have our good friend Adrienne Tilgaray from Trading on Target from back in the old mountains of North Carolina. AT, are you there?
I'm here. How are you, Larry?
I'm above ground, staying away from open graves. Everything is good here in the desert. Thanks for joining us today. Adrienne, well, I had a question from one of our listeners over an email this weekend, and I tried to answer it, but I know they listened to the show, so I thought you might help I answer it, and that is that that they're always worried when they put on a trade because they don't know what's going to happen next. And I had to laugh, and I said, "Do you think anybody knows what's going to happen next?" And I said, put that in perspective, and remember that the only thing that you can control when you're trading is your risk. You want to talk a little bit about some of your experience with that?
Well, the fact is that we're programmed all our life to want to win on every account because losing feels bad. Our parents, our friends, our teachers, everybody's talking about losing. And when you work so hard on a strategy, some people years to get something that works, you're really afraid that it won't work, that you're going to be wrong, that the strategy's going to be wrong, and all of your hard-earned money that you've accumulated over a period of time, you put a lot of energy into saving that money, and that's at risk. So naturally you're going to be afraid of something going wrong. The only thing a person can do is trust themselves and trust their strategy. And if they can't do that, then really they shouldn't be in trading. You have to get to a point where you believe that you have a system, a methodology, a criteria for entering and exiting a trade, that over a period of time, the wins will outdo the losses. If you can't believe in that, and you can't believe in you following that, then you're not ready to be a professional trader. A trader has to be able to take the risk and to believe what he has is right.
It's all down to belief system. It's the same thing in sports, AT. You look at the football teams, like in the Super Bowl, it was the defense that won the game. You look at baseball, the pitchers can beat better hitting and stuff like that. And, when you see so much of this in sports and even in politics, you got to be defensive in politics. But that's the end of my political career right there. But if just watching sports, it's the defensive teams that usually do incredibly well. They might have a, player like LeBron James or Michael Jordan or, somebody like Randy Johnson or somebody like that. But it's basically the defense, that allows them to, to win. And I think that's, very, very important.
But look at those bobsled people who they lose for 1/100th of a second. Or in basketball, when you see people, one side gets a point, the other side gets a point, another side. And then these people that lose, they don't look at the fact that they're winners overall. Yes, they lose endorsements. Yes, they lose money. Yes, there's a lot of things to be said about the losses. But then, I watch these ice skaters, and they're so excited to see their score, even though they're not winning the competition, because in comparison with themselves, they're a winner. So if a trader can look at the history of his trading and see that he's gaining on himself, he's gaining on his strategy, he learns lessons with every loss, then the loss is not only a loss, it's a gaining of information. It's a winning towards the big win of being a professional trader, of being consistent over a long period of time.
That's for sure. You mentioned the basketball. I happen to, watch Sports Center, on Sunday morning just to see what the scores are. And there was a tournament, a high school basketball tournament back east somewhere, and the score was 72 to 74, and the young man had a chance to tie the game, their star player. And it was their last game playing for the championship, and there was only 2 seconds left in the game. AT, he missed both free throws, but he got his rebound, and he's 84 feet from the other basket, and he threw the ball as far as he could, and it went right through the hoop, and they won the game 73 to 72. I mean, I hadn't seen anything that crazy in a long time, but boy, that just describes, you never want to give up hope. But I thought that was one of the most amazing endings I've ever seen to a game, for having to throw the ball that far. And
I saw that on the news.
Yeah,
and,
that to me,
what I thought about when seeing that is that even though you lose, let's say the free throws,
sure,
if you could keep up the momentum of I can win this, and not be a defeatist and say, oh, I lost this, and your psychology goes towards your thinking loss. If your psychology goes to looking at how you can lose, then what happens is your whole neurological system will figure out a way to lose. But if you say, hey, that's the past, but this is now, I know what I have. I know I am a winner. I know my strategy is a winner. And not focus on what happened before, then the momentum will be for you to be a winner.
Yeah.
So many people, what will happen is they'll have one loss in a day or two losses in a day, and they'll say, oh, my God, this day is shot. When does the day begin? When does the day end? And, at what point in time are you a loser, and what point in time are you a winner? If you could begin each, after everything that happens in a day with I am a winner, then, the 10 o'clock hour finishes and the 11 o'clock hour begins, and then you're a winner. But if the 10 o'clock hour finishes and you're a loser, and you continue to think like a loser, the rest of the day is going to be a loss.
I understand. AT, you're giving a seminar, a free webinar this week, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I've posted the link.
It's going to be all about losses.
Oh, there you go. See, I posted the link into the room, so those of you that want to listen to it, I think it'd be a great way to, increase your education, because you certainly know the material, young lady. You've been doing this over 30 years, haven't you?
Yeah, coming up on 26. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow. I remember, you started right after high school. I remember that very vividly. That's anyway, I want to thank.
But we're kind of the old timers in the business.
Oh dear, I got a cat older than you. But listen, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I'm going to talk about your webinar again tomorrow here at TFNN, because you get such great information, and you've got some wonderful products. So, folks, if you get a chance, link on to that, and you'll be able to listen to the show. AT, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it, dear.
And thank you so much for the opportunity. Bye, traders.
Okay, you bet. Bye-bye.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 8 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m. as Larry Pesavento kicks us off with Trade What You See. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Swim lessons from TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim is now at 11 a.m., followed by Basil Chapman at 12 noon. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour, brought to you by Nadex. Next on TFNN.
Okay, folks, let's take a quick look here at the gold market. Last night, well, it was about midnight, I believe, on the old desert wall here. But anyway, we'll take a look at the big ABCD pattern that we had down there at that 1303 level. You can see that actually the number I wanted to see was 1300. We only got to 1303, but we rallied. You notice we had this really nice $24 rally. It stopped exactly at the 382 level of the high that we made on the 16th, and it was exactly at the 61% of the high, on the 25th. And those highs are equal. In other words, from the high on the 16th to the high on the 25th to the high on the 5th. Although, in other words, the time between those highs is good. That adds a lot of information. That tells you there's a great deal of symmetry there. And so what you want to be watching now is watching the pullback, in the gold here, because we rallied, $24. So a normal 61% retracement will take you down to around $15 an ounce. And so keep an eye on that, because we had a high of 28.15. That takes you down to around 13.14. That's going to be pretty good support in the gold, if in fact it is bullish. We're not sure that it is yet, but it's got a chance. The silver market is still lagging. If we take a look at that, you'll be able to see here that the silver is still lagging quite a bit. But it was not able to make new lows when we did make new lows in the gold. That tells us that cycle should be good, but it really needs to get moving to the upside. And today could be the real key, because if we just get down to 13.15 in the gold and then turn, we've got a pretty good chance. So far, our low has been 13.20.5, and it hasn't really done a whole lot from this level. So we'll keep an eye on it to see see what's going on. Now, as far as the S&P 500, we made some type of a bottom. If you remember our good friend Bill Meridian, I'll put this up here so that you can take a quick look at it, just to remind you that he was looking for a really nice bottom in the S&P on March the 2nd. His next key date is the 9th. That also happens to be one of Stan Harley's dates, so we want to watch that one with a little bit of importance. And then, of course, the 14th, which would bring us into the next new moon, which would be what I think will be a really big one, to pay really close attention to. So we need to watch that one I think would be very good. But if we look at what happened in the S&P yesterday or on Friday, it's interesting because there was a big divergence. And I know most of you don't follow this, but the Russell Futures is the second largest of all the stock indices traded at the CME. The number one, of course, is the S&P. The number two, of course, is the Russell. Number three is the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones is the laggard, which it should be because it's not a very good indication of what the market. It's a good indication of the Dow stocks, but not the regular market. But you'll notice here on the S&P, on Friday last night we came right down to a 61% retracement down there at 2663. We rallied up to the 78% level, and we came all the way back down and made a beautiful 61% retracement this morning at 2675. And now we're starting to to move to the upside, which makes to see what's going on with this, and we'll see if it's going to be get up to this 27 level. But there's a really good possibility. Let me show you why there was really big divergence. We just talked about the IWM, but I wanted to show you the chart here on Friday, because when the market was really getting hammered, we were down over 350 points in the Dow at one time. Look at the Russell. You'll notice here at the Russell on Friday couldn't even take out the previous day's low, with the Dow Jones down 350 points. And I was wanting to call Tom O'Brien to remind him, but back on August the 15th, and you're not going to believe how I remember this date, August the 15th of 2007, before we were going into our high of October 2007, the Dow was down 350 points that day. And that was from a low level, folks. I mean, that wasn't at 20-some thousand. And the Russell was actually unchanged on the day. And the NASDAQ was only down a little bit. And then when the market started to turn, the Russell that day just took off, and so did the NASDAQ. But those small caps sometimes can be a leading indicator, and at least some type of divergence. And when it's coming in right at a 61% retracement, like we had here in the Russell, that's mother, God, and country stuff. You know what I mean? I think that's something that should be interesting. I think that was one of my first. Yes, I believe it was one of my first times at TFNN being interviewed, I believe, and it was also Skype. It was one of the few times Skype was ever out. And I remember that day very vividly. Happened to be in Vegas for one of those money shows, and it reminded me quite. That was a big Astro date too, August 15th, because once we went below that in 2007, the party was over, and that's pretty much what we're looking at. I did not do a TFNN show in 2007. I didn't start until Fast Eddie passed away. So that was about 7 or 8 years. I don't remember exactly when Ed died, but I started right after that. And boy, I hated to see him pass away, because he was his heart was so bad though that you just couldn't really do too much with it, I guess. And anyway, but what a great guy he was. Anyway, we'll move on here to some of the other things that we're watching here. I want to get a quick update here on the market to see what we're doing, just to make sure that we're moving along. We just made a 61% retracement in the S&P up around this 2685 level. So now we're going to be backing and filling a little bit. But watch the gold here, folks. The 61% retracement in the gold coming off of our low at 1303 comes in right at 1314. So kind of watch that with a great deal of anticipation. If not today, even tomorrow. It's quite important, I think, to look at it. And then also the euro. If we get up around that 124 level in the euro, that's going to be very, very interesting. Don't give up. Don't give up on the dollar index, folks, yet. And I'll tell you why. And let's just take a quick look. Well, I'll suggest why. Hate to tell anybody anything, because I don't know diddly squat. If you'll notice here, if we look at this U.S. dollar index, we had that false breakout to the downside, then we had the breakout to the upside. That was nothing more than a 382 retracement of the high from back in November. Now we're in the midst of this pullback. And if we can stay above the the 89 level into the 14th, which is this full moon our new moon that we're going to have. This is going to be a real interesting pattern. Now that's 7-8 days out. Let's see, that's 8 days out the road, so that won't be till next Tuesday or Wednesday. So we really want to watch this dollar index, how it acts in here, because this could be a really, really low risk buying opportunity, i.e. selling opportunity in the euro. So keep an eye on that if you're foresee. Someone's asked me if I'm pretty bullish this week. I'm trying to be neutral. I'm just looking at the patterns, but right now I think we're in the midst of a rebound. That's what it looks. With that divergence in the Russell and all those retracements we hit, we have to think that way, or it's probably better. 877-927-6648.
You don't buy into that nonsense, do you? You know you can't time the markets. I didn't. And in 2006, I set out on a mission to do just that. I began by surrounding myself with the greats like Tom O'Brien, Larry Pesavento, David White, and Basil Chapman. I read countless books and even looked to the moon and planets for answers. Now, we both know that trading is 80% mental. So I learned the exact tools that Tony Robbins uses to overcome fear. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability. And last March, the folks at Timers Digest began tracking my newsletter signals, which through January 18, 2018, placed me as the #1 gold timer for that exact time frame. Now, I can't officially be recognized until Timers Digest has a full year of signals, but clearly I've learned how to time the markets, and I'd like to teach you how to do that as well. Subscribers to Mastering Probability gain access to my live and archive workshops where I show you the exact same patterns that earned me this #1 ranking. If you're looking for great market calls and an education, sign up for Mastering Probability today at TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I think the most important thing for today is to try to listen to Adrienne's show that she's going to have on the 7th. I sent the link into the room here. It's free. She knows what she's doing. She worked with Van Tharp for many years, plus she went out on her own to expand on some of the things that she understood, which is, you know, far beyond this old cowboy's pay grade, but she understands neuro-linguistic program really well, too. So, you know, this will be about risk, and that's what trading is all about. The only thing we can control in the risk-reward equation is the risk. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We must accept responsibility for our trades. And, rightly or wrongly, you're the ones that do it. People can give you good ideas, whether it comes from me, Mr. Z, or anybody, but you're the one that has to take the responsibility for the trade and to see that. When I first went to work for Drexel back in '76, and they set me down in New York with the people that were interviewing me, and they said, look, our customers they're accustomed to losing money, and they're accustomed to making money. The one thing they're not accustomed to doing, and that is losing all their money. So when you're trading, don't lose any more than 25% and then stop trading. Can you do that? And I said, yes, I can. And I did it, and I think the biggest drawdown I had in those 6 years was 10%, but don't remember, I was trading bullish, gold and silver plus the bullish commodity, so it was pretty hard to, you could pick up an acorn every day, but, as long as you don't lose large amounts of money, you're going to be fine. Remember, Warren Buffett has two major rules. One, never lose money is rule number one. Rule number two, don't break rule number one. Well, you've got to control risk, and that's the key to what we're doing here, and I think any help you can get is certainly appreciated, so we'll keep an eye on it. Watch the S&P today, folks. If we get making new lows, that will be extremely negative, and especially keep an eye on the IWM, the Russell 2000, because that's been the bullish one. 877-927-6648.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks!